Can Arlecchino actually control fate itself? And if so, could she actually potentially defeat the top 3 Harbingers? Is her 4th ranking misleading? We're going to be breaking that down in this video. And before I even do that, obviously this is just a speculation video. We know that they are in fact ranked by strength, but Arlecchino's entire gimmick is that she doesn't want people to know information about her, what she's truly capable of, and she loves misinformation and misconceptions about her. The developers intentionally included that line back in Sumeru with Nahida talking about how the top 3 Harbingers are power level comparable to gods, and Arlecchino is conveniently just right outside of that, the 4th. And now with this new information, she bested the Traveler. I won't say overpowered because it almost looks like the Traveler was immobilized more than anything. You can literally see that he's shaking, they can hardly grip their sword, and Arlecchino just kinda defeats us effortlessly. And honestly, I don't even think that it was even close to the extent of her powers. Also, for those of you that think the Traveler was holding back, Arlecchino wanted to provoke and wanted them to think that they were going to truly kill the children that wanted to leave the house. But we ultimately know she just planned on killing their identity and memories. The Traveler and the siblings did not know that though, so I don't think were holding back. And the Traveler isn't scared in this situation. The Traveler's never been scared. The Travelers pulled their blade against very immensely powerful individuals the entire story so far. They even drew their blade multiple times against the Shogun. And the Shogun ran amok during the Archon War and the Cataclysm. Literally, this Archon has been butchering gods like charcuterie for literal centuries. So I think there's more to it than the Traveler just being shaken up and frozen by fear. There's much more going on here. Arlecchino also mentions raising her weapon against the Tsaritsa if it ever came down to it, and she straight up says she would kill Dottore if they weren't on the same side, as well as the Rooster. She cannot stand them. They are always trying to get their hands on her children, and she fiercely protects them. As we've seen in one of the trailers, she kills somebody because of this. We know that she's linked to Conria, but because we know that she's Conrian and connected to the Crimson Moon Dynasty, I think she might have powers over fate, possibly. And I think that's what happened with the Traveler, and what we see with her flames being able to erase memories and possibly erase from Irminsul, sort of like a descender. Now this is just a theory and a thought of mine, but the more I think about her Crimson Moon powers, and reading the lore on her weapon and such, and with the new information with the concept of editing memories, for the very short story, Conria, back in the Crimson Moon days, created an orphanage to try to cultivate descenders, and this involved freeing them from the fate of the world, obviously Irminsul, and the laws binding to Teyvat. And if you notice, not only is Arlecchino able to erase these memories and kind of just change people's fates, but she's always glitching out. Her unique flames have the ability to erase memories, and are clearly directly linked to the Crimson Moon. Memories are connected to Irminsul, and they are the key part of Teyvat's system of fate. Irminsul adapts the memories of the world in order to maintain that fate. And before the Eclipse Dynasty days, the Crimson Moon Dynasty obviously tied themselves to the power of that moon and gained a power over fate itself. Probably used the same flames that Arlecchino produced in the House of the Hearth and her orphanage, in hopes that it would erase them from Irminsul, just like a descender. So in short, Arlecchino might be the embodiment of that fate-altering power. She is the flames of the heart. But as to why the Crimson Moon might be linked to Teyvat's fate, that we don't know. Also, Arlecchino actually mentions in her boss battle about purgatory, and she literally has a scythe, much like a Grim Reaper. Knowing all that, her current feats and strength, as well as the fact that she loves being shrouded in misinformation, would it be safe to assume that her ranking might be a little bit skewed? And if the Crimson Moon Dynasty tried to cultivate descenders, is she a descendant of those descenders? Is her parents and lineage descenders? And if they are descenders, where did they come from? Is her lineage and race from Purgatory an underworld type universe or world? Is that why the Traveler sees the Crimson Moon being a descender himself and is like, oh shit? That may or may not be true, but one thing is indisputable. She can glitch outside of Irminsul, and she seems to have some sort of manipulation over fate and the fate of others through her flames and crimson powers. That cannot be denied. And if that's why Conria was cultivating these orphans back in the Crimson Moon days, then obviously that's what they were going for. And if so, could she compare to the top 3? Well, of course anything's possible. Her confidence alone that she could kill Dottore obviously speaks volumes, but so does Scaramouche. He is outright ready for blood. So I don't think hatred alone. But if she was able to immobilize a descender, freeze them in place, then possibly she could hold her own against the Fatui Harbingers. and possibly take down one of the three. Because even though she might not be equally as powerful, if she can immobilize and control fate using the Crimson Moon powers, then anything is literally possible. You don't have to overpower your opponent. But we also have to consider the fact that the top 3 Harbingers probably have absolute earth-shattering gimmicks like that as well. Columbina, I've been saying for literal years now that she could be the Shade of Death or a Moon Sister, but she's probably a celestial type being in some way or form on her own. Arlecchino also calls the captain outright powerful, so using a crazy gimmick would probably be the only way she could take him down. As for the Doctor, she might be confident in her cursed Conrian powers, but the Doctor is also the most methodical and intelligent man in Teyvat. To think that he doesn't have a contingency for all the Harbingers is to outright underestimate him, which would be a flaw. So in short, what do I actually think? Well, I honestly believe that Arlecchino is probably stronger than her rank suggests. She probably is on par with the top 3, but could she actually defeat them? I would say she's at a disadvantage, as we don't know their full abilities and what their gimmicks are yet, but I'd say that it's a possibility, especially if she can alter fate, and it does seem that at some point she will leave the Fatui Harbingers. She just wants to make sure the kids in the house are in good hands before she does so. But that's pretty much going to wrap up the video. I just wanted to have a quick video discussing Arlecchino's mysterious powers and why I think her ranking is actually a little misleading. I do think there's more to her power than her just being outright powerful in the 4th rank, because I know I've talked about it in videos too that she overpowered the Traveler, but really when you break it down, she didn't really have to overpower the Traveler at all. She sort of just freezes him into place, and the Traveler, like we talked about, isn't scared of strong opponents. Something very ominous is going on here. She's always glitching out, and the Crimson Moon Dynasty is no joke. I really do think her glitching out, I think she might actually control fate in some way, and maybe she doesn't even know how to harness the entire extent of this power quite yet. And now the more I think and talk about Arlecchino, it reminds me of that old conversation with N that really didn't mean too much at the time, but now has a little more light shed on it.
Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Then is there any way we can stop it?
People call such things fate, and it is written in the stars. It cannot so easily be altered. Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive? I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
Perhaps, just maybe, Arlecchino is one of these people who can stop it like Paimon suggests. She is one that can alter fate, even if it is not so easily done like N suggests. Maybe Arlecchino is one such being that can do this. And is that because her ancestors are in fact descenders? Or is the fact that they can alter fate make them descenders? But it definitely seems like she was holding back big time. If that's the case, then her powers might literally be limitless at full potential. But I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments. Let me know. Hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Natlin is literally just creeping up day by day. Like and subscribe, help grow the channel. I really do appreciate you all watching this far. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.